All right, so get ready, because today things might get a little awkward, maybe even a little cringy.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be diving deep into cringe, that feeling that makes you just want to disappear sometimes.
Yeah.
We've got research, real-life examples.
Uh,
We'll even talk a bit about cringe comedy.
right.
But what's really interesting to me is that cringe isn't just about, feeling awkward for someone. There's actually a layer of judgment involved.
Yeah, there is.
So it's going to be interesting. Buckle up.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's fascinating, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about why we experience it, and then on top of that, why we share those awkward moments with like everyone we know.
Yeah, it's like, why do we do that?
Yeah.
So, okay, before we go too far, let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
What is cringe, actually?
Right.
I think we all kind of know it when we feel it, but how do the researchers out there actually define it?
So it's defined as a very specific type of vicarious embarrassment.
Okay.
It's not just about feeling empathy for someone, like, oh, I feel bad for them, that's awkward.
Right.
It's this feeling of embarrassment for them, but with an added layer of they should have known better.
So it's kind of like a judgment call on their, social intelligence, oof, I would never do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about the perceived excusability. Like, how excusable is this awkward act, right?
Yeah.
And the research is full of these really vivid examples, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, think about the person on the plane who whips out a ukulele and makes everyone listen to their off-key rendition of Wonderwall.
Yeah.
Or, scrolling through LinkedIn and you see someone bragging about, like, sending emails and scheduling meetings.
Oh, yeah.
It's those moments where you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And we just can't relate.
And it makes you just...
It triggers this almost visceral reaction.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it already just thinking about these.
I know.
So, okay, but why do some awkward situations make us cringe, totally cringe, while others just make us, I don't know, just feel bad with the person?
Right.
Where's
yeah.
that line?
So that's where this thing called the appraisal theory of cringe comes in.
The appraisal theory of cringe.
Yeah, and it basically suggests that the key difference lies in how excusable we think that awkward act is.
Okay.
So we cringe when we see someone violating a social norm in a way that just feels completely avoidable.
So we're holding them to a certain standard.
And inexcusable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of social awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's oh, you should know better than that.
Yeah, precisely. There's this study where researchers asked people to describe situations that evoked either just empathetic embarrassment or cringe.
Okay.
And the differences are really telling.
Interesting.
So for example, someone holding a door open for someone only for them to walk through a different entrance.
Oh, yeah.
That's empathetic embarrassment.
Right.
It's awkward, but we can all relate to being in their shoes.
Totally. You're just oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for them. That's happened to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then contrast that with someone boasting about how much money they make
Okay, yeah.
during a casual conversation with friends.
Right.
That's cringeworthy because it violates a social norm.
Yeah,
And it feels completely unnecessary.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
You should know better.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're starting to understand what makes something cringeworthy, I think.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's the part that I always get stuck on.
Okay.
Why do we feel compelled to share cringeworthy moments with other people?
Right.
It just seems so counterintuitive.
Yeah, shouldn't we just look away?
Right, oh, let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great question, and it might seem strange at first,
Yeah.
but when we look at the research, it actually makes a lot of sense. So it turns out that sharing cringe is really tied to this concept called social comparison theory.
Social comparison theory.
Yeah.
Social comparison theory. Okay. So are you saying that when we share someone's, cringe fail, we're making ourselves look good?
Well, kind of, yeah. It's deep down, we're sending this message. We're saying, hey, I get it. I understand social norms, and I would never be caught dead doing that.
Right.
So by sharing cringe, we're kind of putting ourselves, subtly above the person who messed up.
I see. Okay, so do we actually have any evidence that this is what's really happening? This social comparison thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a ton of research out there that backs this up. For example, there's this one study. They looked at the online reaction to, that Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad.
Oh, yeah.
The one that tried to, solve all the world's problems with a can of soda.
Right.
So obviously it was super cringy. I mean, people were calling it tone deaf.
Oh, yeah.
And just really awkward. But guess what? It actually generated more discussion on Reddit than any other Super Bowl ad in like a whole decade.
Really?
So all that cringe actually made it go viral.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But cringe can be like this weird, powerful thing. And there's another study. It took it even a step further. They showed people influencer posts, some positive, some cringy, and gave them the option to share. And they found that people were 67% more likely to share the cringy post than the positive one.
Wow, 67%. That's huge.
It is, yeah.
So, okay, so it seems like we really just love to share this stuff.
Yeah, we do.
But, I mean, isn't it just a form of negativity? Like, are we just being mean when we do that?
That's a good point. It's
Yeah.
important to remember that, like, cringe isn't just about being negative.
Okay.
It's specifically about those awkward attempts to be, you know, cool, funny, persuasive, whatever. Those moments where it just backfires in like the most spectacular way.
Right.
Yeah. And the research actually supports this idea. They did this one study that compared the sharing of a cringy ad to an ad that was just bad, but not cringy.
Okay. What kind of ads?
So it was for Mr. Clean Magic Erasure. One version was just your normal ad, product, mom, daughter, cleaning. Pretty basic.
Right.
But the other version, they added this caption. It said, "This Mother's Day, get back to the job that really matters."
Ooh, yeah. I see.
Yeah, right.
That's not good.
No, it's like reinforcing the stereotype, and it just feels so off.
Yeah.
And, obviously people are way more likely to share that cringy version, the one with the bad caption.
Of course, yeah.
But they also measured this thing called social comparison tendency,
Okay.
which basically means how much people compare themselves to others.
Right.
And it turns out the people who compare themselves a lot were even more likely to share that cringy ad.
So wait, are you saying some people are just wired to share cringe more than others?
Well, yeah, that's what it seems like. It's almost like they see it as an opportunity,
Okay.
to show how socially aware they are, to be like, look, I would never do that.
Right. So cringe is like a weird social currency, kind of.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So if we love sharing cringe so much, I mean, are there ever times when we actually avoid sharing it?
Oh, that's a good question. And you're right, there are times when we hold back. So this one study found that if you have a strong connection to a brand, you're less likely to share its cringy moments.
Really?
Yeah, so let's say you love Tesla.
Okay.
You might be less likely to share, something embarrassing that Elon Musk said or did.
Right, because it reflects back on you.
Exactly. It's like the self-protection thing.
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, we're not just thinking about how it makes the brand look, but also how it makes us look to share it.
Wow, this is making me rethink my whole relationship with cringe. I had no idea how much was going on under the surface.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
social signaling, self-preservation, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much psychology behind something so simple.
And we don't even realize it.
Exactly.
So where do we go from here? What does all this mean for, us, the people who are constantly consuming cringe?
Well, it means we're all part of this intricate social dance. We're trying to fit in, but also stand out.
Right.
And cringe is like a tool. We use it to figure out where we belong.
And sometimes we end up being the ones supplying the cringe.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, it happens to the best of us, right?
Right. It's good to remember we're all human. We all have those moments.
Yeah, we all have good days and bad days.
Exactly. And it makes me feel a little less, embarrassed about the times when I do cringe at others.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even the most, put together people have their cringy moments. Nobody's perfect.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder, is there ever a time when cringe is actually a good thing?
Mm.
Is there such a thing as good cringe?
That's a really interesting question. It makes me think about cringe comedy. Shows like The Office,
Oh, yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Those shows are built on characters making the most awkward, cringy mistakes.
Michael Scott, Larry David, the kings of cringe. But why do we love it so much? If it makes us cringe in real life, why do we want to watch it?
Well, maybe it's because it gives us a safe space to think about our own fears,
Okay.
about being awkward, making those social mistakes. We get to watch them mess up so we don't have to.
It's like social skills training disguised as entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, okay, note to self, never do that at a party.
Don't buy that gift.
Yeah, right. So we get to laugh at the absurdity of it all, but also learn from it at the same time.
So maybe there is a silver lining to all this cringe. Maybe it helps us all become a little more socially aware,
Yeah. And it definitely connects us, right? Because we've all been there.
Yeah.
So it leads to this, bigger question for everyone listening. If watching cringe comedy can help us understand social situations better, could there be other positive uses for cringe?
Interesting.
Like, could we use it to raise awareness about social issues? Or maybe even challenge some of those old-fashioned social norms we were talking about?
Huh. That's a really good question.
Yeah. Like, could we actually use the power of cringe to make the world a better place?
That's something to think about.
It is, and it's something for you all to ponder as you continue your deep dive into the world of human behavior.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you with that thought. Until next time, fellow explorers of the human experience.